Today I'm going to walk the Stockport Blue Plaque Trail. It's a 2.5 mile walk around Stockport town centre. This is the leaflet I'm using today. The walk starts outside Staircase House, and behind this brick facade is a medieval house dating from the 15th century. Well, the first blue plaque is for Stockport Market, which was built in 1861. Well, the next blue plaque I'm looking for is for Elizabeth Raffald. She doesn't actually feature in the leaflet I'm using today, but it's a blue plaque I came across on a walk I did around the town centre. Well, evidently Elizabeth Raffald was an 18th century domestic goddess, author of a cookbook, and perhaps included the recipe of the modern day wedding cake. The pub I'm stood outside, Arden Arms, belonged to the family, and Elizabeth herself is buried in the parish church here in Stockport. From the Arden Arms we head back towards the market and past the parish church of St Mary. Well, Stockport was granted its market charter in the 13th century, and on my left is Stockport Parish Church of St Mary, and there's been a church on this site from the 12th century, though the current building dates mostly from the 19th. Well, just opposite the church is Rostron Brow, and it was once infamous for its ale houses of ill repute. Well, from the church I walk up towards the old Rectory, which is a fine Georgian house built in the 18th century. The Rectory was built in 1744 and was the home to the rectors of Stockport and later the bishops of Stockport. As you can see, the Rectory is now used as a restaurant. The blue plaque for the old Rectory is located in this rear entrance, but unfortunately you're unable to get to it because it's closed. But inside, I don't know whether you can see the blue plaque on the wall. And from the old Rectory I continue up Churchgate and head towards Waterloo Road. At the top of Waterloo Road there's an old chapel, and this was Churchgate or Orchard Street Chapel, and in 1837 my grandmother's grandmother was baptised here, Mary Kennedy. The family had come down from the Glasgow area in the early 19th century and settled in Stockport. Just off Waterloo Road and on my right is some waste ground. Now, this was the site of one of the worst air disasters in British aviation history. In 1967 a passenger aircraft came down at this spot here and killing over 70 people, and just at the top of Hope's Car is a memorial to the accident. Opposite to the memorial are the Strawberry recording studios. Well, these studios were the home to the band 10cc, and you understand that Joy Division recorded their Unknown Pleasures album in these studios. We continue along Waterloo Road past the front of the recording studios and head towards Hillgate. We turn right down Hillgate and then left onto John Street, looking for the birthplace of Sir Joseph Whitworth. John Street would have been once lined with tourist houses, but now it's the site of the Magistrates' Court, and this is where I'm going to find the next blue plaque. Well, Joseph Whitworth was known for his precision engineering and more famously for the standardisation of screw threads, the Whitworth thread. But he was also the manufacturer of munitions, and some of his sniper rifles supplied the Confederate Army, and there was a division known as the Whitworth Sharpshooters. John Street, we turn left onto Piccadilly and then right into Edward Street, heading towards the Town Hall, which fronts the A6. Unfortunately, this blue plaque is rather high up on the wall at the Town Hall. Let's head to the A6 and let's get a better look at the front of the Town Hall. Well, here we are at the A6 now, Bollington Road. And here we get a better view of the Town Hall. Opposite the Town Hall is the magnificent frontage of the old Stockport Infirmary, and we'll be crossing the A6 shortly to look at a blue plaque opposite. But first I'm going to look at a memorial to one of the Cockleshell heroes. Well, this is a memorial to James Conway from Stockport, one of the Cockleshell heroes. Well, it's time to cross the A6 and head towards the blue plaque on the side of the infirmary. There's a map of Stockport dated around the end of the 19th century, and we are at this point here, and just across the road here is the infirmary shown on the map, and also on the corner was one of the locations of the grammar school when it moved from Chestergate. Well, where the War Memorial Hall is now was once the old grammar school. But let's cross towards the infirmary and find the blue plaque. We're now going to head back onto the A6, turn left and head down the road. That's a better view of the Town Hall. Well, at the Central Library we're going to cross the A6 and head down St Petersgate. Well, at this spot on St Petersgate was founded Stockport Garrick Society, the country's oldest little theatre. And the Garrick Theatre now is sited just over the A6 and we'll be walking past it. We're now heading towards Stockport Viaduct. Well, we get a glimpse of the railway viaduct ahead, comprising of 11 million bricks, and was the largest brick structure in Europe until the 20th century. Well, from the viaduct, we're going to walk past the Hat Museum and towards the Plaza Theatre. We're now going to be walking under the A6. The Plaza Theatre opened as a combined theatre and cinema. It had seating for over 1800. From the plaza, we cross the road. I'm going to head towards the air raid shelters. Well, the air raid shelters opened in 1939 and consisted of a series of tunnels which could accommodate 4,500 people. From the air raid shelters we continue down Great Underbank, and we're going to look at the early site of the grammar school. Well, this was the site of the grammar school from the 15th century up until the 19th, but by the development of the town centre during this time, the school then moved to where we've just been, where the Stockport Memorial, and now the school is located further up the A6. I'll continue walking along Underbank and come across this old 16th century timber framed house, which was probably built at the time of Queen Elizabeth I. It's called the Three Shires. From Great Underbank, we're now going to take a little detour up Little Underbank towards St Petersgate Bridge. Unfortunately, the restoration work doesn't give us a great view of the bridge, but I think we'll head up top and have a look. Well, let's just head up these steps and we'll take a view from the top of the bridge. That's a view back down onto Little Underbank, and if we cross over we get a view up the other side and Robinson's Brewery in the distance. Well, I've returned to Little Underbank and I'm heading towards the foot of Mealhouse Brow, which was one of the ancient ways up to the marketplace. Well, that's the blue plaque at the foot of Mealhouse Brow, and that's the route up towards the marketplace, but we're going to head back towards Great Underbank and back under St Petersgate Bridge. The bridge was constructed in 1868 at the cost of £10,500. On my right is Winter's Jewellers, or what was, and there's a clock and 3 moving figures up there, but unfortunately you can't see them because they're behind the scaffold. Well, I'm back on Great Underbank now, and we're heading towards Underbank Hall. Well, on my left is Underbank Hall, which is another 15th century timber frame townhouse. Well, we leave Underbank Hall and we head towards Lancashire Bridge, which is the site of an old crossing of the River Mersey. There we have the River Mersey. Just a bit further upstream from Lancashire Bridge, between the A560 and the M60 motorways, we have the confluence of the River Goyt and the River Tame, which together form the River Mersey. The River Tame flowing under the motorway, and the River Goyt on my left, and then the River Mersey. Well, we've headed back towards the precinct, and we're now going to head up one of the streets, Vernon Street, back up towards the market. At the top of Vernon Street we have Castle Yard, and this was the site of a Norman castle. Perhaps the site chosen because it overlooked the crossing of the Mersey, which was fordable down below. Well, as you can see, we're now back up by the market hall, but on the other side, and we're just going to have a walk around. Well, just around the corner from the market hall we have the Bull's Head Public House, and before the construction of the market hall it was possible to address large crowds from the upstairs windows of this pub during election time, and indeed hustings were actually set up in front of the pub. Unfortunately, the blue plaque is set very high up, so I'm not sure you'll be able to read it, but what it says this hostelry was a scene of radical political agitation in the early 19th century. Radicals Henry Orrington Hunt, Fergus O'Connor and reformer Richard Cobden gave speeches here. A little further along from the Bull's Head, we're now at the top of Mealhouse Brow and the site of the old dungeon. Well, that concludes my tour of Stockport blue plaques. I found 21, there's just 20 listed in the leaflet, but before I finish today I'm just going to find a section of the old medieval town wall. If we make our way just back to Castle Yard and the Baker's Vaults, there's a lane running off to the left. And here on the left we have a section of the old town wall.